life of the Buddha. Last time I left off, he was having a very good time in the kingdom of his father. His father was giving him the Prince Siddhartha everything he wanted, or everything that he could have desired. So this is going to be this chapter is called The Song of Beauty. One evening after dinner, Prince Siddhartha lay reclining on his couch, his head resting in Yashodhara's lap. The musicians are playing sweet melodies, and the servant girls are whispering and laughing quietly to each other. The evening was like so many the prince had known since moving into the pleasure palaces. But that night he felt a bit restless. Turning to one of his favorite singers, he requested, "Please lull us to a sleep with a song. Choose a tune you have never sung for me before." The singer graciously agreed and began to make up a new song from the words that floated through her mind, all the while accompanying herself on a stringed instrument. She sang of the beauties of the world, of the distant lands that she had traveled as a child, of golden cities where happy people lived. The song enchanted the prince, and when it was over, he asked the singer, "Tell me truly, are there really such beautiful places beyond these garden walls? What kind of lives do the people live in the city? Are these things in this world more lovely than what I have seen in this magnificent palace? Please tell me all you know." "Oh, Prince," she answered, "surely these palaces of yours are most magnificent. But there are many other beautiful things to be seen in this wide world. There are cities and towns, mountains and valleys, distant lands where people speak strange languages. There are many things that I have seen, and many more that I have heard about. Your palaces and gardens are indeed beautiful, but there is much to see outside their walls." Hearing this, the prince became interested in seeing all these strange and wonderful things for himself. For so many years he had been content to live within the pleasure palaces and gardens, completely forgetting about the world beyond. But now he desired to journey out, and so he sent a message to the king, requesting him to arrange a travel party into the city beyond the garden walls. The king received his son's message and thought to himself, "So now my son wishes to see our kingdom. So be it. He has stayed long enough inside his pleasure palaces. It is time for him to see the kingdom he will someday rule." An unexpected sight. The king wanted to be certain that his son would not see anything on his trip that might disturb his mind. This might make him want to leave the kingdom and follow the holy life. So the day before the prince was about to travel to the city, the king sent his servants and soldiers out with a message. "By order of the king, tomorrow the royal Prince Siddhartha will visit the capital city of Kapilavastu. Decorate your houses and the streets and let everything be colorful in his honor. Let those who are sick or old or in any way unhealthy stay indoors tomorrow. Nothing should be seen in the city that is not young and fair and beautiful." When morning came, the charioteer Channa groomed the prince's favorite horse, Kantaka, and drove out through the palace gates with his royal passenger. It was the first time the prince had seen Kapilavastu since he was a small child, and it was the first time that most of the citizens of the city had ever seen the prince. Everyone was excited and lined the newly decorated streets to catch a glimpse of this handsome young man as he rode by. "How tall and good-looking he is," they said to one another. "How bright his eyes and his brow. We are indeed fortunate that someday he will be our king." And the prince too was delighted. The city was sparkling and clean, and everything he saw people laughing and people cheering and even dancing. The streets he rode were covered with the flower petals the citizens joyously threw toward their beloved prince.
You're going to tell the story back with that?
The song was true. He remembered happily, "This is indeed a golden, beautiful, and wondrous city." But as the prince and his charioteer were riding by, they spotted an old, bent, sad-looking person among the joyous crowd. Curious, for the prince had never seen anything like this before, he turned and asked, "Channa, who is that person over there? Why is he stooping over and not dancing like the others?" Why is his face not smooth and shining like everybody else's? Why is it pale and wrinkled? Why is he so different from the others? And Chana pointed to the man. He remained unseen by everybody else and answered the prince. Why, sir, that is just an old man. Old, the prince questioned. Why, this man always old like this. Was this man always old like this before? Or did it happen to him recently? Neither, O prince, Chana answered. Many years ago, that wrinkled man before you was young and strong, as all the others you see here today. But slowly he lost his strength. His body became bent, the color faded from his cheeks, he lost most of his teeth, and now he appears the way he does. Surprised and saddened, Siddhartha asked again, that poor man, is he the only one suffering the weakness of old age, or are there others like him? Surely you know, O prince, that everyone must experience old age. You, me, your wife Yashodhara, Rahula, everyone at the palace. We are all growing older every moment. Someday most of us will look like that man. These words so shocked the gentle prince that for a long time he remained speechless. He looked like a person who had just been frightened by a sudden lightning flash. Finally he regained his voice and spoke. O Chana, I have seen something today that I have never expected to see. In the midst of all these happy young people, this vision of old age frightens me. Turn the chariot back to the palace. All my enjoyment of this trip has fled. Turn back, I wish to see no more. Chana did as commanded. When they arrived back home, the prince entered his palace without greeting anybody and hurried upstairs to his own room and sat by himself for a long time. Everyone noticed how strangely he acted and tried to cheer him up, but nothing helped. At dinner, he did not touch any of his food, even though the chef prepared his favorite meal. He paid no attention to the music and dancing, but sat by himself thinking, old age, old age, old age.
Dear, did you listen to the story? Okay, could you please go on with another story, and then we'll go back to Gideon quotes.
What I'd like to tell you about is a little dream I had the other night. Sometimes my dreams, they just happen and they're just like regular dreams, and sometimes my dreams are different. I dream that, I know that I'm dreaming, and it's very, very good dreams. But the other night it started out that I didn't know that I was dreaming. It was just a regular dream. And for some reason, this strange man came to me, and we didn't like each other, and we started quarreling, and then started getting into a fight. And then off in the distance, I saw a monk in robes, real beautiful robes coming, and he said, John. And I looked over to see him, and he held his hand out. And I went and I reached and grabbed his hand, and then we lifted off the ground and started flying in the air. And I went over in the air, we kept flying over the countryside, and then we came to a beautiful temple. And I came into the temple, and I felt very, very peaceful. And I was so happy to be away from the quarrel and fighting with this other man, and that I just felt joyful that the monk came and was able to grab my hand and take me through the air and bring me to the temple. And then I woke up and I felt refreshed, and the dream was strong in my mind. And I said, what a beautiful dream that was, to stop from fighting and to be taken by a monk to the beautiful temple where I felt very peaceful. So I was very happy to have that dream. Now I want to talk about a little bit about the compassion of animals. A lot of people say that animals don't have feelings, that they don't care about each other, that everything they do is by instinct. I heard a story, and I've seen films about elephants in Africa, that they have to migrate from one part of Africa to another part. Sometimes it's 300, 400 miles they have to travel. And in the dry season, there's no water, and it's very difficult for all the elephants to travel. And some of the mother elephants that just have babies. And the fathers and the mothers, they're strong, and they've been around for a long time, and they've done the journey many times in their life. But the young newborn elephants are very, very weak, And if they don't have water and get refreshed, sometimes they can't make it. Sometimes a baby elephant, it'll just be so weak it can't move anymore. And the mother elephant will stop. All the elephants will stop, but especially the mother elephant, that's her baby. And she'll stay by it, and she'll try to nudge it to get it back up on its feet. And she'll take her trunk and try to coax it to stand back up, because she knows that if the baby elephant doesn't get up, it's going to die. But sometimes the poor baby elephant can't get up no matter what the mother tries. And then she just sits by it and grieves and feels very, very sorrowful. And all the other elephants feel the same way. And that's a good example of how animals show compassion. And the other day, I happened to see a story about a horse and a goat. The horse and the goat grew up together on a farm in the forest, and here in America. And ever since they were little, they were inseparable. They just played together, they nudged their heads together, and they just liked to be in each other's company. And as they got older, the horse lost its eyesight. And they used to always walk from their little corral that was open, and they'd walk into the forest in the countryside, and the horse would always find some very good grass to graze on, and the goat would go with them. But when the horse became blind, he couldn't do that anymore. He couldn't go out on his own because he couldn't see. And so what happened was the goat would lead in front of him and lead the horse through the forest into the very green grass where the horse could graze. And then when the horse was done, the goat would stay with him. And when the horse was done, the goat would lead him back, all the way back to the corral, through the forest. And then when the horse got really close to the corral, the goat would fall beside him and go into the back of the horse, because when the horse got close, he would know his way, how to get back to the corral. But the goat always showed him, after the horse became blind, how to go find the good grass and lead him to that. And then when the horse was done eating, he would lead him back to his corral. And then one day, finally, the horse passed away and died. And after that, the goat just kind of lost all ambition. He would just lay down. He didn't want to play or get up or run. He really, really missed the horse, because that was his good friend. So when you see the animal world, all animals usually have compassion, and it's not always instinct just to hunt other animals. And even animals not of the same species, they're completely different, they still could become friends and have compassion for each other. And I want to thank Suko, Auntie, and everybody else for giving me a lot of healing energy. Really made me feel a lot better and helped me to get well. And the next session, I want to share a very personal story. And it's going to be a very strong, very potent story. Suko Auntie can tell you all how to do the right things, but this story has a personal experience to tell you how not to do the wrong things. So next week it's going to be a very, very personal story that everybody should really pay good attention to.
Thank you, Teacher John. We are very happy to have Teacher John. Teacher John has been sick. Even he's sick, he was also coming. He was very sick, like a dog, but he can't. It was amazing, and after that he had to snap down because he had fever. So today he's getting better, but we will continue to pray for him, and I just don't want to forget I have these. But Teacher John, please take with you, because I can forget.
Oh, thank you.
How? What was the story about? And you stand up and tell the story. I want you to summarize.
In the first story,
Stand up. Stand up because you sit down and you get tired. So I get you stand up.
in the first story,
Đứng thẳng lên, hai tay chắp lại.
in the first story, Buddha asked one of the singers to sing a song that he hasn't heard yet. And so the singer makes up a song. and by the end he asks if the things in the song were true, and the singer told him that they were true, and so he sent for his father to go. He asked his father if he could go out into the kingdom, and so when he was out there, he saw a man who was sad, and he asked why the man was sad, and he told him that the man had old age and was very weak, and that everyone would at some point would experience old age. And after hearing that, Buddha immediately asked to go back to the palace, and for the rest of the day he was very quiet and only thought about old age.
Thank you very much. Now, who can tell the next story? Continue. Raise your hand.
Đức Lộc cô.
Đức Lộc nói đi. Stand up, please.
The dream John, he was quarreling with this guy, and then they got really mad at each other, so then they got in a big fight, and then a monk that was really rich and bold came and took him in the air to a giant golden temple, and he was really peaceful. And when he woke up, he was refreshed.
Really good. Con, can you say something about the story of the Buddha? Story? Yeah, the one he did. Yeah, continue. Okay. Whatever, stand up so you can relax. You sit down for a long time and then you stand up.
So, in the story of the mother elephant, they give birth to her babies, and then they had to migrate to somewhere else. And during the trip, there was a place that had no water at all. The baby sat down and wouldn't get up no matter what, and the mother had to try to get the baby up, but no matter what, the baby never came up, and all the other elephants were also sad, and that's the background.
Yes.
Very good.
That means they care about each other, see? You know? The elephant was born to one mother, but all the elephants care about that baby. So we should care about others like that. It's just not because it's your own child, but others people. Huh? Everybody cares. That's very good. Excellent. Well, thank you. Now who can tell next story? Wow. What's your name? Tracy, okay.
Okay, so there was this goat and this horse that were best friends, and then the horse would the horse and the goat would go to the horse would find where the good grass would, and then he would graze in it. But then later on, he lost his sight, and then he was blind. So his goat, since they were very loyal, his goat would lead the horse to where the good grass is, so the horse would graze it.
Oh.
Very good.
Okay, now we are going to chant this. The Metta Sutta. We chant in Vietnamese. This sutra, because all of these monks came and reported to the Buddha, and one said that all the animals disturbed wild animals disturb, you cannot meditate well. And the other one say, oh, the robbers disturb, you could not meditate well. And another one say, the god of the tree didn't like me, I sit next to the tree and he could not come back to this tree, so disturb. And the next one reported that was the God came and make offering because he was meditate well. See, when you meditate well, they have people come make offering. Cúng dường. So then the Buddha say, okay, from now on you chant this 3 times. This Metta Sutta in here 3 times before you sit down for meditation, and everybody will be happy and peace, and then they will not disturb you. So that this is the very foremost Sutta, the Kinh đầu tiên của Đức Phật dạy. Cho nên mấy con kính trọng đó, đây là dạy cho làm sao để cho mọi người xung quanh con được yên ha. So whoever around you, they are peaceful and happy, and they will not disturb you. That's why we chant this. Lead the
Kinh thương yêu.
Những ai muốn đạt tới an lạc thường học hành thẳng thắn, kiên cung, biết nói lời từ ái. Những kẻ ấy chỉ sống đơn giản mà hạnh phúc, nếp sống tự hòa điềm đạm, ít ham muốn, không đua đòi theo đám đông. Những kẻ ấy sẽ không làm bất cứ một điều gì mà các bậc thức giả có thể chê cười. Và đây là điều họ luôn luôn tâm niệm, nguyện cho mọi người và mọi loài sống trong an toàn và hạnh phúc, tâm tư hiền hậu và thánh thơi. Nguyện cho tất cả các loài sinh vật trên trái đất đều được sống an lành, những loài yếu, những loài mạnh, những loài cao, những loài thấp, những loài lớn, những loài nhỏ, những loài ta có thể nhìn thấy, những loài ta không thể nhìn thấy, những loài ở gần, những loài ở xa, những loài đã sinh và những loài sắp sinh. Nguyện cho đừng loài nào sát hại loài nào, đừng ai coi nhẹ tính mạng của ai, đừng ai vì giận hờn hoặc ác tâm mà mong cho ai bị đau khổ và khốn đốn. Như một bà mẹ đang đem thân mạng mình che chở cho đứa con duy nhất, chúng ta hãy đem lòng từ bi mà đối xử với tất cả mọi loài. Ta hãy đem lòng từ bi không giới hạn của ta mà bao trùm cả thế gian và muôn loài, từ trên xuống dưới, từ trái sang phải. Lòng từ bi không bị bất cứ gì làm ngăn cách. Tâm ta không còn vương vấn một chút hờn oán hoặc căm thù. Bất cứ lúc nào khi